Hi, my name is Kristen. This is Kristen Craves Books. So last year, one of my first videos on this channel was actually a 5-star prediction video. And I think I've read 3 of the books on that list, which is so predictable of me. If you tell me, or I tell myself I have to read something, I don't do it. But I can already feel my mindset about that changing this year. So hopefully I will stick to the 2022 list better. And I have 10 books on this list. 5 of them are backlist titles that I own that I want to prioritize because I really do want to read my shelves this year. And then 5 of them are 2022 releases that I just have a good feeling about, I'm really excited about. So I want to share those with you as well. And then hopefully at the end of the year in December or January 2023, I can come back on here and tell you how accurate I was. And I am somebody, I've been blogging since 2017 and my reading has really grown and changed since then. But I think what's really happened is that I'm coming to a better understanding of what I like, and I watch so many YouTube videos, I read so many blog posts, I'm on Bookstagram, Book Twitter, all the things, and I'm introduced to so many books all the time. So I feel like I've really gotten good at honing in on what's going to work for me and what's not, and I'm really trying to embrace DNFing. So all these things are leading me to having a very good idea of what I'm going to rate 5 stars, even though I've become a little bit pickier about 5-star ratings. There's something, it has to be something special, and it's not even something that I can put into words. I think if you're a reader, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. There's just something about a 5-star read that puts it on a different playing field with other books. And I've seen other reviewers call them their 6-star reads, which I think is interesting and something I might explore. But for now, these are the 10 books I'm gonna read this year that I think are gonna be 5-star reads for me. So the first one is one that I've had since it came out, and this is The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abby Dare. And I have been recommended this book so many times. So many of my blogger friends say this is their best book of all time. If I mention on my blog at all, that's the only comments I get about this book. And I don't know too much about it, to be honest with you. I know if we follow Aduni, and she is a young woman who I think you instantly fall in love with, and it's her determination to get out of poverty, to uplift fellow women's voices. And I just heard it's really beautifully written, beautifully told, and I have a feeling it can be a favorite book of all time. 5-star read. I have no doubt about this one. I think this is the one I am most confident in, just because so many people who I would say are my book twins have loved this, and so many people who know my reading taste have told me I'm gonna love this. So I gotta stop putting it off. This is the year. I'm really, really excited about it. And then this next one is one that has been on my shelves for such a long time, and I just have this feeling it's going to be an all-time favorite. And I've talked about this so many times about how I save books for the right time, but I'm moving past that. Now's the right time. There's no right time to read a book. If you're in the mood for it, pick it up. So this is Pachinko by Min-Jin Lee, and this is so many of my buzzwords. It's multi-generational, which I read Homegoing by Ya Jessie, and that really proved to me that multiple generation stories are my jam. This is a family saga. I have heard just beautiful, beautiful things about it. And it is longer, and the writing, I don't know if you can see it in there, if this will focus for you, but the writing in here is quite small. So I think I've just been intimidated by it. But again, this is the year I'm not gonna let that happen. This was a National Book Award finalist, and I just have a really, really good feeling about it. And the quote here says, "There could only be a few winners and a lot of losers, and yet we played on because we had hope that we might be the lucky ones." So that just sounds so beautiful, and I've heard great things about it. My gut is telling me this is a 5-star read. Now this next one is the one I'm least confident in because there are so many mixed reviews, but my gut's telling me I'm gonna love it, and that is The Ballerinas by Rachel Kaplan Dale. And this got a lot of buzz when it came out in December, and then I started to see some mixed reviews for it. But there are a lot of bloggers who I trust that love this. And I think the problem is with the marketing, which often happens. I think people go into this one expecting a thriller, and I've been told it's more of a slow burn suspense, which I love. It's being compared to Black Swan, and really I love anything to do with ballet, especially if you're gonna show us the dark side of it. And I love books about friendships between women, and I know that this follows 2 timelines, one in the past where these girls are ballerinas and then something happens and we're looking at them in the future where they're no longer friends, and we kind of get the reveal of what happened way back when. And I just love that kind of stuff. Actually, Kathy Marie Buchanan, she wrote The Painted Girls, which was a very underrated book, and one of my favorites, blurbed this. So I just have such a good feeling about this, and I hope I'm on the side that gives it 5 stars because I have been seeing mixed ratings. But if you have read this, let me know what you thought. Okay, it's finally gonna happen. I'm finally gonna read Salt from the Sea. I have Salt of the Sea and The Fountain of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. I actually have a signed edition of that one, and I've been told so many times I'm gonna love her work. This is actually YA historical fiction, which is not a genre I've explored much. Historical fiction used to be my favorite genre, but I haven't read a lot of it in the YA world. But I know that Ruta Sepetys is like the queen of historical fiction YA, and she has a new one coming out. It's called I Must Betray You, which I'm really excited about. But I want to get to this one first. I really want to read her most popular. And she has another one, Shades of Grey. I just want to get through. I have a feeling that I'm going to read this, fall in love with her work, and then Ruta Sepetys might be my best author discovery of 2022. I really hope that happens, but I put this on so many TBRs and never got to it, but I'm so determined to do it this year. I have it on my TBR cart for the year. It's going to happen. And then the newest addition to my bookshelves, I haven't hauled this one yet, is Still Life by Sarah Winman. This has got to be one of the most gorgeous covers I've ever seen. And Sarah Winman wrote Tin Man, which is one of my favorite books of all time. So underrated. Such a nice, sweet, heartbreaking little novel that I continue to think about. I recommend all the time. And this is definitely a bigger book, and I've heard that this is completely different than Tin Man, which I kind of love. I've said this before, I love when authors explore different genres, but honestly I don't know too much about it. Reviewers I trust have loved it. I know that it came out in the UK a while ago, and I've seen so many UK bloggers rave about it, and I just trust Sarah Winman's writing so much, and the way that she builds characters, that I just know I'm gonna love it. So this is another one that I'm really confident I will give 5 stars. She had another one too, If God Was a Rabbit, that I gave 5 stars many years ago. So I think she's a tried and true author for me. And now moving on to 2022 releases, I have quite a selection here. And the first one is Love in the Time of Serial Killers by Alicia Thompson, which we have quite a wait for. It doesn't come out until August, but this cover, this title looks so perfect. It is a romance, and our main character is really into true crime, and she's convinced that her next door neighbor is too perfect, that he's a serial killer, and then there's a romance between them, which I just think is such a fun twist. There have been early reviews of it, and every single review has given it 5 stars. It has a 5-star average rating on Goodreads right now, even though, I mean, it's not out yet, but people are reading it in advance and loving it, so I'm so excited. I have such high hopes for that one. Hope it doesn't let me down. Then this next one is one I think a lot of us are excited about, and a lot of us predict we will give it 5 stars, and that is Upgrade by Blake Crouch. I've really been into Blake Crouch. He is the author that really showed me I can love sci-fi, and now sci-fi is one of my favorite genres, so dark matter and recursion are really popular. I love them both. I think I gave them both 5 stars, maybe 4.5, but they were close, and I just love what he does with sci-fi. It's always set on Earth, but it's time travel or memories, and I believe that Upgrade is about genetics, and I think there might be a virus going around, and our main character gets that virus, and he realizes that his senses are advanced, and he's more of an upgraded human, but he has to hide this from the government. Sounds wild, but all of Blake Crouch's premises are, but he does such a great job with them. And it feels like years and years since Recursion came out, so even just in my mind, it's 5 stars already, because I just need more Blake Crouch in my life. Then this next one is one I have no doubt I will give 5 stars to, and that is You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Kweki Emezi. I have given every book they've ever written 5 stars, and Kweki Emezi is another one of those authors that writes outside of their genre constantly shifting genres. They've written middle grade, non-fiction, really hard-hitting literary, some historical, so they do it all. And this one is their first romance. Looks like adorable cover, but what I really like about them is that they tackle heavy topics no matter what genre they're writing in, no matter what age category. So You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty is a romance, but our main character has lost her husband and she's looking for love again, but she doesn't think she can find it. So I think there's going to be a lot of conversations about grief, the guilt of moving on, how we move on, how love can look differently after the loss of your husband or your loved one or your partner. So I just think it's going to be absolutely beautiful. I really trust Emezi with any topic and any genre, and the early reviews have been amazing. So I'd be shocked if I didn't give this one 5 stars. And I want to give an honorable mention to their other release that's coming out this year, and that is Bitter, which is the prequel to Pet, which is their middle grade novel, which I absolutely loved. Pet's one of my most anticipated books of the year, and again, I will give that one 5 stars. Now I had to include a nonfiction on here, and this one I am so excited for, and let me get the title right. It's Unmasked, My Life Solving America's Cold Cases, and this is by Paul Holes. Paul Holes is the detective that solved the Golden State Killer case, and everybody fell in love with Paul Holes at that time because he's so charming. But I'm really excited about his book, and I definitely want to listen to it on audio. And he dives into his long career of solving cold cases, and some that got media attention, some that didn't, and his motivations behind it, and why he's so passionate, and the obstacles he comes up against. I just think it's going to be incredible. And I've seen a lot of people on Bookstagram having early copies, and I've never been so envious of ARCs in my life. But yeah, I tend to love the nonfiction that I do read. I've already read 2 nonfiction titles this year, and they were both 4.5 stars. So I think Paul Holes can get rid of the 5 stars. I'm really, really excited about that one. And then the last one is one that I just found out about, and I was so excited. It is Acts of Violet. This is by Margarita Monomore, and she wrote Una is Out of Order, which came out I think in 2020 and really surprised me. That one is about a woman that every year she wakes up and she's a different age in her life. So one year she's 23, and then the next year on New Year's she's 32, then she's back to 19, then she's in her 80s. It just jumps back and forth, and the timeline's all over the place, but it's really well handled because that's normally not my kind of thing. But in her new books, Acts of Violence, there is a magician, and she goes missing, and her sister's looking for her, and there's a podcast that's also looking for her. I think it's the 10-year anniversary of this magician's disappearance. I believe she goes missing during an act during one of her shows, and so the podcast is trying to get attention on this case and getting more popular. It's trying to interview her sister, and things happen, and I just have high hopes for this one. I really do trust this author, and I just thought this was a fun one to add, something different. There are a lot more 2022 releases that I think will be 5 stars, but something in my gut is telling me this is going to be a special one, and maybe one you hadn't heard of, so I wanted to include it on here as well. So those are the 10 books that I predict will be 5 stars for 2022. Obviously, I hope I'm right. I hope I have way more 5 stars than that this year, but I would be curious to know if you've read any of the Backlist titles that I talked about, or if you have arcs of any of the 5 that I'm excited about for this year. Let me know so that I can be very jealous of you. And let's talk about these books. Let's talk about if you do 5-star predictions. I really should talk about my rating system in a video, but maybe I'll do that in a vlog one time. But it's definitely something that I should talk about so you guys know what makes a 5-star read for me, because I know that's a very personal thing. So once again, thank you for your time. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.